Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to beautiful Chiang Mai. It is still the smoky season, yet it's still a beautiful morning. The air visual quality is at 174, which is considered unhealthy, but we're making it through. So today I am with you at Chun restaurant, and I'm going to answer some questions that you sent me. Now, throughout the previous month, people sent questions to me and said, hey, can you do a video about this, or you can do a video about that? And the only problem is they were great questions, but not enough for me to do a whole video on. So I was able to convince my wife to join me, and we're going to answer some of your questions, or at least, if nothing else, give you our opinions about said questions. So first, let me show you the restaurant and where we're going to do this at. So this is Chun restaurant. This is one of the first things you see when you pull up here, what's available. It is about 10 minutes from our home off the 118 where we came up at, but it is a very interesting place and I think you're going to love it. But it's one of the things you'll see right here. Look at that. Have a little seat. Yep, I'm gonna go through the front though. All right. So let me show you what this is about, and then we'll find a seat, and we'll get those questions going. All right. So they haven't been open that long, so they're still doing their thing. But this is the seating area when you first walk in. So there's plenty of room to sit. And of course, I don't go to a place where there's not dessert, even though I don't do dessert all the time. Cafe latte, oat or almond milk, if they have it. That's blueberry cheesecake right there. I've had that before. Macadamia cheesecake. I may have had that before. That's burnt cheesecake. They really do really well on their cheesecakes here. Chocolate brownie, orange cake, coconut tart. All right. And they're just gonna buy me a coffee. So this is the outside area here. It is so quiet and serene out here. It is amazing. And take you back down here where we're going to sit at. All right, check this out. Let me give you a little more view of it. I'll put a link of this restaurant. If you come into the city, even if you're in an old city, spend some time out in Dorset, and some of these places, you know, what you could check out. I don't think you would not be disappointed. I can tell you that much. That right there over there is kind of like I guess a man-made waterfall. They will turn the waterfall on later on. There's water right there. So it's a nice sitting area out here. So we're going to get our coffees and we'll be right back to answer those questions. All right, so we're back and we have coffee and we have questions. All right. So one of the first questions, and I'm going to be checking out on my paper. I have the questions written down here. The question is, what steps should a person take who wants to move overseas? So what steps should a person take? And that's going to vary by a person's situation. I mean, are we talking about a family? Are we talking about a single person? What assets you have? Some of the things, you know, how much furniture you have, what stuff you need to get rid of. But just to go over some of the steps, I think it's first to figure out where you want to move to. And I think that would include, you know, for some people it's going to be, are there a lot of English speakers there? You know, for others it's going to be climate. the ease of getting a visa. So what I would do is I would make down a list of countries that you're interested in.
Research.
Yeah, and then write down the pros and cons, geographic location, where you want to be at. And we're going to go more into details with that. But also, and I'm going to turn this over to Dana, see if she has anything here in a second. But I think one of the most important things to think about is if you're getting either a pension or Social Security, how are you going to get your money from point A to point B? And I did a video on how I manage my money here. And we use Charles Schwab as our bank. And it's easy to use Wise Transfer to transfer our money from Charles Schwab Bank to our Bangkok Bank. And so just something to think about. Anything you want to add, Dana?
We know people that have like a 50-50 situation going on where they live in the US for 6 months and then they come over to Thailand during the beautiful season. So if you're doing that, you don't have to disperse your individual assets like your house. But when Fred and I came over, we decided we were moving all of our lives over to Thailand, at least right now.
Burn the boats.
So we sold everything, and that was the process. Yeah.
And so to really wrap that question up in itself is I really think you need to figure out where you want to go.
And how long you want to be there.
Right. And and even if you don't know how long you want to be there, just how to survive while you're there, what things do you need to take care of, and I think banking is going to be the biggest issue. Banking and visa, and figure out that process.
Banking and visa.
But it takes a real different mindset to say, I want to move to another country where I don't know the culture really. I've lived this place all my life, so we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, but it may be best just to take a trip to the place or the places that you think you want to live and put boots on the ground and go from there.
That's a good segue into the next question. So how did we decide on Thailand? That was a question.
Yeah.
How did you decide on Thailand? And Fred and I researched many countries before we moved here. We visited Colombia, Medellin. We went to Cuenca, Ecuador. Mexico City was one that we were considering. That was beautiful. Where else?
Those three, Puerto Morales,
Puerto Morales,
in Mexico also.
Mexico. A couple of places in Mexico. There was Puerto Vallarta, was a really nice place, but it was a little like touristy and known.
Yeah.
But then we eventually decided, Fred had taken a trip to Vietnam with a friend about a year prior and fell in love with Asia in general. And I had been to Japan and a couple other places in Asia, and we decided that while we were still young enough, we might go ahead and visit Thailand, which was a destination we had both settled on for. We know we wanted to come here at some point. We decided, why not do it now while we're young enough to navigate everything?
Yeah. And here's the thing, we didn't visit. We moved here sight unseen when it comes to that.
Except for internet research.
Yeah. But here's the thing with, when I did hundreds of hours of research on Thailand, and between the culture itself, it's just philosophy that I interpret as live and let live. That right there really drew me. And the Thai food and the Thai people I didn't know, but I only knew through other YouTubers and just watching documentaries. It seemed like a place that would fit the kind of lifestyle that we wanted, and that's why we choose Thailand. It wasn't our first choice because we both have family back in the United States. It just seemed really easy to live in a Central America, South American country where we could be 2-hour flight, 3-hour flight away, but it didn't work out. And so here we are in Thailand. Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll move closer to the U.S. We don't know.
And that's come up in a question in itself.
Yeah.
But the third question was, what has been your greatest challenge or challenges? So, I've answered this question differently. On an interview, when someone asked me, is language a barrier? And I've always said no. But with that said, it's not a barrier, but it can be a challenge. And you think about this, you spend your entire life living in a country where as early as you can speak, you spoke whatever language it was that you spoke, and it becomes second nature. And now here you are you know, in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and you're moving to another country where everything is foreign to you. The signs that you pass by on the highways, everything
The seasons, they're all different.
Yeah. And so, but I think the greatest challenge was really to kind of get out of the comfort zone, because even though the comfort zone might not be best for us, our brain is created in such a way to protect us.
Yes.
So it wants to leave us in that comfort zone, and making sure, kind of rewiring your brain to say, you know what, facing challenges is okay. And so I think just, I guess, immersing into another culture, that has been a challenge to a degree, not to push us away from it, but just know that, hey, we're going to be uncomfortable for a little bit.
It's a challenge, like the grocery store, for instance. Just to give you a specific, in the beginning, when we went to the grocery store, like a big grocery store like Big C, or something that was meant for, not really rimping, because rimping is more American, Western kind of, but if you go to Big C, everything's in Thai. The products are from Thailand or nearby, or from, you know, China. So you have to use Google Translate to figure out what it is if you can't tell from the packaging. We bought several things. We thought it was almond milk. It turned out to be soy milk. We bought a flour where it turned out to be something else. So when we don't use Google Translate, like, that was a challenge in the beginning, but then you get used to it. Like, okay, I know where I can go find my stuff in Big C now, because we went through that rough patch.
Yeah.
But we did it.
And I think also, you know, just not seeing family on a regular basis, or even knowing that you can see them, because you think about it, in some of the Western countries, some of us work so much that we still don't see, you know, our family and friends as much as we'd like to. But not being able to just randomly go jump in the car and go see those friends.
Not to get the hug. But, you know, we see our family almost every day. Shane and Savannah, our kids, they call almost every day, and we see them. I don't know how people did it before there was video technology, because, I would be very much missing our family.
Write a letter.
Yeah, you'd write a letter, send pictures, and wait for it to go there, get it. They write a letter and send it back, like, no.
Yeah.
And we did that.
Yeah. So this next question was interesting. It was, how did you convince your wife to move overseas? I've gotten this from 3 different gentlemen. And I would tell you this, you know, I had, when Dana and I started dating, and it became apparent that we wanted to be together forever, one of the things that crossed my mind is that I had already made up my mind that I wanted to live overseas. And this was probably, when I made that decision, it was probably 3 years before I met Dana. So before I asked her to marry me, I told her that, hey, I know we're getting serious, but I want you to know that my plans when I retire in 10 years from now or 15 years from now is that I want to live overseas. And without missing a beat, she says,
yes, me too.
Yeah. And a lot of that was, you had been well traveled, right?
I
you
love
want to talk
travel.
about that a little bit?
I've been traveling since I was very young. I've been to a lot of countries. I adore learning about languages and other cultures, and it was my dream to live. Although I traveled, I'd never lived in another country. My son lives in Aruba. He immersed into a different culture. I love to travel, and my experience in Asia was limited, so it was an unknown adventure. So and then when we started doing internet research about Thailand, I loved everything I saw. The people, the acceptance, the culture, the food.
So I'm going to take a side street, okay? You ready for this? I'm going to take a side street. I think, you know, what some women may worry about is some of the resources or some of the luxuries or some of the things that they do may not be available to them. So can you talk about, you know, I don't know how to word it, but hair care,
girl stuff.
Yeah, fingernails. Just talk about your experience with that.
I'll tell you what, in the States, I didn't access those services much. I did get my nails done because I like that. I didn't get my hair done much. I did that mostly at home. I definitely didn't go to spas unless it was my birthday and there was a present and a gift certificate. But here, they are so accessible, and there's so many. There's nail salons. I've gotten eyelash extensions just to see how that went, and I love them. I don't have them on right now, but you can go and you can get them, and for a month you have these long, luscious eyelashes that are wonderful. You can go get a massage for $9, and it's a full hour massage, and you feel amazing afterwards. I never got stuff like that in the States, but here, the girly stuff is all over. There's hair salons, nail salons, foot massages, body massages, all kinds of stuff that you don't even know about. Like there's cupping, and there's ways to get rid of stress, acupuncture, gua sha. I don't even know what these things are, but they're available if you want them. You know.
Well, let's talk about
learning about them.
Let's talk about, and I did do a video on Central Festival. Well, what about the shopping? If you have an avid shopper, are the same products or similar products that are available in America available here for them?
You can go high level, mid level, or inexpensive level, but you don't really sacrifice quality in any of those things. If you go high level, obviously you're going to pay more. You're going to get like the best, well-made stuff completely available here. They have their high-end shops. The Maya Mall is like the Galleria in Texas. It's really nice. And all in Neiman, in the area in Neiman, which is very where the tourists are. It's you can go buy anything there. Upscale clothes, upscale shoes, upscale jewelry. I mean, everything is available to you here. Mid-level, which is kind of where I shop, mid-level is you get the quality, but I don't want to pay like ridiculous prices for things because we're pretty much minimalists. Everything is available. Clothing, shoes, it's everywhere.
Except for coffee, we're like maximalists when it comes to coffee.
Yes, when it comes to coffee, we'll have like 4 cups a day sometimes.
But really, just to kind of wrap up that particular question, I mean, if you can get your significant other to come for a trip overseas and then just to see what's available, I think that would make a big difference. And I tell you what, and Dana and I, we both agree on this, that our life has been enhanced because we got off the hamster wheel and we decided to take a chance. And honestly, when it comes to material things, as far as something I want, I'm not missing that particular point of it. But I will tell you this, and this is way off topic. So, Android users, I'm a Google Pixel guy.
It's the truth.
And the last video I talked about falling and cracking one of my ribs, I also broke my phone. And what I will tell you, in Chiang Mai, I stopped by 4 different shops before I find a shop that would fix my phone. And when it did, it was like the lower level glass they would put on there was like 4,000 baht. So it can be expensive.
Like $120.
Right, and prior to that, you were out hiking and
I was out hiking and I broke my phone.
Yeah.
And so both of us are Android users, so it was pricey. We picked a better grade glass just in case we dropped it again, then it would be less prone to breaking.
Yeah.
But it cost us around $300 each phone just to replace the glass. So, because this is Apple country in here.
Yeah. So iPhone, but I'm sticking with my Android.
I love my Android. And I'll go to battle.
So we said 7 questions. This is question number 5. So do you feel that the Thai people accept you? Now, this is something, if you go on some of the Facebook expat groups, you will see people leaving Thailand because they feel like they're not accepted into the culture. And I think in order to answer that question, what does it mean to be accepted to that? Now, in order for Dana and I to really talk, we speak the same language. It's easy to feel accepted when you speak the same language, you communicate. You grew up in a culture where you understand nonverbals,
the music. That
the
they
music.
grew up, yeah.
So
the
we understand all
traditions.
that. But what I can say is that I have not had an incident or a situation where I felt that any particular store, restaurant, whatever the case may be, that I was not wanted in there. I've always felt welcome. And so to me, that's part of being accepted. Now, do I wish that I could really immerse in the culture? But look, I'm way behind the 8 ball when it comes to that, because all I know is what I study. You know, I know about them, but I can't speak the language. And that's my fault, because I do have an opportunity if I wanted to, I do want to, but if I really put the effort toward it to learn, and even that will only get you so far because you still don't truly understand. But here's the thing, the word tolerance sometimes get a bad rap, and sometimes to me, to be tolerated means that I accept you as you are, and I can't change that, but I accept you who you are. So I do feel tolerated here. I don't feel like, for the wrong, take your money and go back to America, or go back to whatever. So my experience would differ from others. Please feel free to put your experience down there in the comments. But my experience is that I do feel accepted. I do feel warm, a warm reception here from the people I've come in contact with. Like Dana mentioned earlier, we do have Thai friends that they
enjoy interacting with Western people, because almost every single Thai person that you will meet is working on their English, perfecting their English. They learn very young. We have where we live, our landlord has a 6-year-old son, and he started school last year learning words, and we were learning, he would say a word in Thai like a color, and we would practice with each other. And now he's way past where I am in Thai in English. He can put full sentences together. So they learn very young in school here English because of their, the tourism. It's big money, and so they know that, and they learn very young Chinese, Thai, and English. And then there's another language that they learn. I think that's in high school, but those are the 3 basic languages, and they're always looking for opportunities to practice and to learn and to correct. And with me learning Thai, my experience at the markets has been I love going to the markets. The ladies at the markets will help you. When I was learning my numbers, I would count out the vegetables, and they would be so happy when I got nung, song, sam, si, ha, and they'd clap for me and tell everybody she speaks Thai, and they celebrate. You have to be open though. You have to be open to the culture and willing to learn what their culture is and show an interest, and not just be, well, that's different from Western ways and that's different, and comparative. If your heart is open and you're willing to learn about their culture, I think you'll find that the Thai people are very warm and welcoming and accepting. Yeah.
Because I know, and like I mentioned about the expat groups, there are people who use the word transactional, that, any foreigner over here, your only relationship with Thai people will be transactional. And I strongly disagree with that.
That hasn't been our experience.
No, it hasn't been our experience. So my experience has been that, when we first got over here, we knew very little about the money. We're still trying to navigate that, and I paid what I thought was one thing, and I overpaid. I'm walking away. They catch me, and they give me my change.
At the market one time, I had, like my money spread out, and I'm like, I have no idea what to pay this person, and they just smiled and took what they needed and showed me what they took, and then made change, and then gave change. It's not transactional. They're happy that you're using their services or whatever, but I feel warm.
Yeah. And here's the thing, we're talking about our experience right here. We are not discounting whatever experience you may have had, but we're just talking about our experience and what has been there. So I do feel accepted in that regards.
Very much.
Question number 6, do you feel like you will live in Chiang Mai forever? What does forever look like? What do you think, Dan? I'll let you take this first.
I love Chiang Mai. There's so many things that we have yet to discover, and this channel is a great opportunity to put that out there and show. We have so many things that we are on our list to go to and check out. But not discounting Chiang Mai, there are lots of other places in Thailand. There's nearby places. We just recently visited Cambodia, which was lovely. I don't know. I mean, only time will tell if we're going to live here forever. We kind of assess our situation according to our lease agreement. Like,
Well, let me ask you this right here. So
I could live in Chiang Mai forever.
we are in our second smoky season.
Yes.
You know, we're coming up on our second rainy season after this, and hot and smoky season.
Yep.
So none of this has been a deterrent to you as far as wanting to be here long term?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I love it here. When it's real smoky, like up in the 200s, I wear a mask or stay inside with our air purifier and our dog. I isolate very well. So I can stay inside for weeks. I've got loads of stuff on TV that I watch and read and stuff. So no, smoky season doesn't bother me.
And you know, there's no perfect place. You
I
know,
don't have asthma though.
Right.
You know, or bronchitis or any of those other diseases. So I feel lucky that smoky season doesn't bother me.
Yeah. But like I was saying, there's really no perfect place to live. Every place is going to have its pros and its cons and stuff like that. I think it boils down to what you're able to tolerate, what you're willing to live with. And, you know, because we live in Chiang Mai, we do have the resources. We chose not to travel this smoky season because we had already, I had already spent a month in Cambodia.
We missed our dog.
And we miss and we miss just having that routine that we had also.
I miss my kitchen. I love cooking. You know, when we were traveling, even if you have a kitchenette, it's hard to like go out and buy groceries and bring them back, and it's just not something that you do. You eat out or you order in, you grab. And I miss my kitchen. I missed our mattress, our bed. I missed our dog. I do. I like our routine.
Yeah, and I think to say that is that, where I'm headed with this is that, when you live in a country, talk about geo arbitrage, when you live in a country where you take your money from wherever you come from, be it Australia, the UK, America, and you move it to a place that's a lot less expensive, and then you see where you expand your resources. So we can, moving forward, say we're going to spend a trip down south for a week or two, or wherever the case may be.
And spend a little more.
Right, but we can afford to do that, whereas we couldn't afford to do that regularly in the U.S. You take that one big trip a year, maybe two.
Yeah, you when you're managing a home and in the West and everything is just the insurance, if you get hurt, and it's just a lot. Here we don't have that worry. If we get hurt, like Fred just recently did, you go to the hospital and it's $200. Done. And you know what's wrong? Our dog was injured. She got into a dog fight. I took her to a local vet. It was $18 for the checkup, and it was a full checkup. And they took her temperature. They touched every part of her body to make sure she was okay. They treated her wounds. Medicine was included, $18.
Yeah.
So you have this that wouldn't happen in the West. You'd be waiting for an appointment probably, and then when you get in, it would be well over $100.
And I know we're kind of going off topic with stuff like that, but I think we just want to paint the big picture for you on why we love living here, why we say we can live here long term. And who knows, like I said, we're going to start doing some traveling. We're going back to Siem Reap in December for a half marathon, and then in March we're headed back to Da Nang that we stopped in to do another half marathon. I'm going
to watch that one. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do the first half marathon. We'll see what my back says.
Yeah. And so so we're going to visit places, and we may say hey, let's do 6 months in Chiang Mai, 6 months in Siem Reap, or 6 months in Da Nang.
But it's open. It's like the feeling is like we could be yet to discover the place that we're going to live and die in. And that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to take the lead on this last question, but I think I'm going to let you take it. So if you had to do it all over again, would you do anything different about coming over here?
Yes. Two things. Number one, I would learn the language sooner. Learning Thai is process, especially if you want to learn the alphabet as well and not just conversational Thai. It's definitely a process, and I would have started learning it way in advance. But we didn't know. We were, we were pretty set on Cuenca up until about 6 months before we decided on Thailand. We didn't know. I was learning Spanish. I knew Spanish, and I thought we were going to live in a Spanish-speaking country. Turns out we didn't. Spanish still serves us. I mean, we meet people who speak Spanish here, and I can speak Spanish to them. But learn the language. The second thing I think I would do differently is I would have taken less stuff. I had a huge suitcase full of like stuff that I was emotionally attached to. And I could have left that over there initially, because when we traveled over here, we took the long road. Like Fred said, we went first to Vietnam, 2 places. We took a train ride, and lugging around 2 suitcases and a backpack was arduous.
Yeah, it was work, yeah.
So I would have left. We have a bin of just like pictures or photo albums and stuff that we didn't want to sell, stuff that we didn't sell, and slowly been taking it over here because we know that we're going to be in Asia. But I don't want to. Still, Fred and I, we don't want to be that couple that needs a moving van in order to move.
Yeah.
Right. So very minimal stuff, and that leaves us free to move around. So yeah, that's my 2 things.
Yeah. I think even though things worked out, I think if I could do it all over again, I would practice what I preach. And what I mean by that, I would have taken a trip over here and just kind of get a lay of the land.
Yeah.
And I think that would have made I wouldn't say it would have made
what difference would that make?
Well, like it would have gave me a chance to look at, Sensai, look at Dorset Cat, look at Hang Dong, look at, but I think the stars were aligned, and then we got the place where we were supposed to land, and that was it.
We put an ad out in Chiang Mai expat community, and we said, Facebook, we said, look, we're looking for a long-term rental where dogs are welcome. And our landlord, Ton, found us and came and got us into the city and brought us out to our village and drove us around this village, and where the dam is, and the viewpoint where all these beautiful mountains are, and I fell in love instantly. I mean, I had like tears in my eyes. I'm like, this is the place. And then we discovered Dorset Cat more, and it was just, I love Dorset Cat. It just has everything you need.
And prior to that, we used Perfect Homes to try to help us find a place as well. And we saw 2 different places. Yep. And I tell you what, they were scooped up like that. Yeah. But
rentals go quickly.
Yeah, but it wasn't meant to be, because those are.
It was in Sansai, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of them was.
It was in Sansai.
But it didn't have the space that
It had space around the house, but she has a jungle to go explore in.
She being our dog.
She being our dog, yeah. So she would have been happy. She would have gotten along, but her life is enhanced by the area around our house. She has a boyfriend that comes and visits her, soy dog.
Yeah.
That comes, and they come, and he comes, and they pee together, and it's wonderful, and then he leaves, and she comes in the house all happy. I mean,
you say that on video, they pee together.
I'm sorry, but that's what dogs do. It's not my idea of a good date, but it's what dogs do.
Do I edit it out, or do I leave it?
No,
that's the question.
It in. Leave it in. This is real life. Real life is messy and not always video happy.
It is. Hey, before we wrap up here, I want to do a bonus question, because I really think this question is very important. And that question was that this guy said that he found a really good deal on a condo here in Chiang Mai, and they wanted a deposit first and last, and then the first month. And he said, should he take it? Because I had talked to him earlier, and I said, yeah, sometimes places go fast. So I think that kind of shook him. But places can go fast, folks, but there are a lot of places here. And here's the thing, no matter how great a country is, there's going to be some people there that would try to take advantage of people, especially that live out of country. So I do not recommend renting a place, sight unseen, or sending money to anybody to hold that place for you. There are places Yeah, if you don't get that place, there'll be another place. That's reason number one. You know, it could be a scam. Reason number two, and some of my viewers have brought this up to my attention when they moved over here. You go to that place in the daytime, man, it's beautiful. It's right near the Maya Mall. You can walk to all these different shops, American hamburgers, you have Mexican food, you have anything you want is within walking distance. But then you go to lay down at 10 o'clock at night.
And there's parties everywhere around.
That's when the club starts hopping. And so that may go to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. Not so much the establishment club, but maybe that neighbor or whatever. So kind of get a feel about where you're moving to. Now what we discovered out there in Dorset and why we love it, they love their celebrations.
Yes, they do.
And we love that they love their celebrations.
We love that they're celebrating.
And we love celebrating with them.
Yes, indeed.
But I tell you what I appreciate about it is sometimes these celebration goes to midnight.
But then it stops.
Yeah. And we just put noise canceling
That's
headphones in.
Our dog is getting used to it now.
Yeah, but you know, it's I'm gonna do a whole video on why we chose Dorset over the old city,
That's good.
so to speak. But if you have any other questions, you have comments, because a lot of you have lived here a very long time, share your experiences down in the comments with everyone else, because that's how we learn from each other. That's how we make an informed decision on, you know, should I move there or should I not move there? At least it's part of that informed decision. Yeah. So once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Dana, for joining us on this video.
My pleasure.
I know sometimes you like to be the person in the background, so thank you for being in the foreground on this right here.
It's been a pleasure.
That's all we have for now. Thank you for joining. Over 50% of you are not subscribed. I appreciate you watching, but please hit that subscribe button, and that really helps me grow. And I love you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, take care.